like you are working on TGF-beta signaling pathway from long time, I think. What made to choose this multifaceted molecule, TGF-beta?
Yes, the truth is that I made my postdoc in London, and I was working in intracellular signaling in fibroblasts and other kind of cells. But I had made my PhD in working in hepatocytes. And when I came back to Spain and I started with my independent research line, I decided to explore signaling pathways in hepatocytes. And in fact, I used a model that was not very frequently used, that was fetal hepatocytes, embryonic hepatocytes. And I started to try to understand which are the signaling that could regulate their proliferation and differentiation. And in the context of the different molecules that we use as potential factors that regulate these processes, I met TGFbeta, or TGFbeta met me. I don't know exactly. But the truth is that we found that TGFbeta was a very important signal in hepatocytes, regulating growth, proliferation, regulating cell death, and in fact, in combination with other signals regulating differentiation. So we started exploring TGFbeta in the context of the fetal development, in the liver cell differentiation. And from that and so, we started later on better understanding the role of TGFbeta during liver regeneration. And from liver regeneration, we moved to liver cancer. And well, it is a kind of love, a love story between TGF-beta and our research group. And I am very happy to continue working in this cytokine that, as you mentioned, is very complicated. It induces dual roles in all the cases. But in the case of liver tumors, that is well the area of this journal, it clearly plays a dual role. On one side, it inhibits growth, induces cell death, so could be a very relevant tumor suppressor factor. But once the cells develop mechanisms that overcome their suppressor functions, the tumor cell responds to TGF-beta in terms of migration, invasion, and TGF-beta contributes clearly to the progression
it
of
plays very
liver
important
tumors.
role in EMT, epithelial to mesenchymal transition.
Exactly. It induces EMT, mediating migration and mediating invasion. And even it is very important that in some cases, the EMT is not a full EMT, but TGF-beta always induce the expression of mesenchymal genes that contribute to a partial EMT, converting the epithelial cells in a mixed epithelial mesenchymal cells that show the higher stemness capacity and the higher migratory capacity. So it's not black or white, but in all the cases, TGF-beta in the tumor cells, in the liver tumor cells, at least in the case of hepatocellular carcinoma, which is the most or the better understood tumor, TGF-beta is inducing migration by different by different processes, but always it induces migration. So how much is relevant this in the liver tumors is something that is not completely understood. But what is very clear is that in the case of hepatocellular carcinoma and cholangiocarcinoma, in advanced stages of the disease, the expression of TGF-beta is very high. So the levels of TGF-beta are very high. And under these circumstances, the tumor cells has overcome their suppressor functions. Otherwise, there will not be tumor. And in these cases, in those cases, it is very, very frequent to find that the liver tumor cells migrate and invade more, and they are dependent on TGF-beta signaling for this migration.
And also, like, I will ask one more additional question. This is related to diet. people talks about Mediterranean diet, and what is the status of non-alcoholic fatty liver diseases and HCC in Spain?
In terms of TGFbeta, you are asking?
No, not in terms of TGF-beta, in general, like NFLD and obesity and hepatocellular carcinoma population in Spain.
Yes.
It is increasing, or?
Okay. Well, things are changing, but particularly because due to the new pharmacological approaches to the virus of hepatitis, virus B, C, and before the hepatocellular carcinoma, in most of the cases, was the consequence of chronic viral infections.
Okay.
Now it is expected that in the next years, the virus do not induce so much hepatocellular carcinoma, because it is expected that they will be under control. Under these circumstances, it's obvious that NAFL in general, no alcoholic liver diseases, probably related to metabolic syndromes, will be the most important cause of hepatocellular carcinoma. There is no doubt about that, and this is the reason why in many laboratories now they are moving to exploring better the NAFL and the progression from NAFL to HCC. And this is in Spain and in Europe, and perhaps maybe not so much as in United States or North America, or maybe because of the food, these kind of syndromes are more frequent. But now too, even though our country has styles of nutrition that are more healthy than in other countries, Mediterranean countries in general, we have a more healthy foods. This is true. We have more fruits and more vegetables in general, no? But even though it is now more and more frequent that the cause of liver cancer is related to this kind of obesity and NAFL and metabolic syndromes. Yes.
And how was your work-life balance during COVID-19 situation in Spain?
Not easy, really.
I know, it is very difficult.
During the first 3 months, from March to June, we were confined at home. So the laboratories were completely closed. We only came to take care of the animals, nothing more. All the cells were frozen, everything, laboratories closed. Only the animal room facility will continue working, of course, to take care of the animals. And so everything was completely stopped. From summer, from July, we have started the work, and the truth is that we come every day. We have no problems. We have not stopped from then. But we have turns in order to do not occupy the room with many people, and we have established criteria for the occupancy of the rooms. So in the case of my group, half of the group come in the morning, another half of the group come in the afternoon, evening. So even though we continue working, the amount of work that we can do is not the same. We try to do our best, but it is not easy. It is not easy. And of course, in terms of money for research, and now there are a lot of efforts from Europe and all the European countries in dedicating money to research in COVID. So I don't know if they are forgetting a little bit the cancer. I hope that no, but the truth is that there are many calls for research in COVID, and not so much for research in other areas. So it is sure that the COVID will impact in our research in the next years.
I have one final question. what is your message for younger investigators or new investigators or postdocs?
First of all, vocation. I mean, it is very clear that the young people must be convinced that they want to do research. And why is it necessary to do research? Because it's the only way to advance in our knowledge about everything. But in the case of health, is the only way to advance in fighting against any pathology. In our case, against liver cancer. Research is the only way, and not only clinical research, but of course it's very important, but also basic research. We need the basic research, the translational research, to arrive to the clinical research. So it is very important. So the most important point for starting is to be convinced that the work that they will do is very relevant to advance. Even a very small advance will be very relevant in the future, because many small advances all together suppose a step forward in our fight against cancer. The second is patience. We cannot expect that in 1 month we could solve all the questions that we have. It's impossible. Some of the questions require years and years of work. So it is necessary to be patient and to have in mind that many experiments are required for a final conclusion. We cannot be sure with only one experiment. No one kind of experimental approach. We need different kind of experimental approach to arrive to a final conclusion. So it is necessary to have patience. And the final point is because it is a hard work, because it is necessary to dedicate many hours, because it is your vocation, and you dedicate. They will dedicate a lot of time to this work. The most positive point is that we work in what we love. We love our job, and this is not easy. Not many people, not many professionals can say that they love their job. So I think that it is very important to validate this and to be very positive, because our work is a very hard work, but has this positive point, that is that we love what we do.